Hello, I'm Shannon Harris. Welcome to Window on Wilmington. On today's show, we'll tell you about the CASA coordinators, court-appointed special advocates, and we'll tell you what they do. Health, Aging, and Disability will also tell you how they are working to address the aging population in Delaware. We'll find out what Keys to Success Delaware is and what they do. The Grand Opera House in Wilmington offers great programs for the kids, and we'll tell you all about that. But first, Delaware's child death review process was established by legislation passed in July of 1995. After a pilot project showed the effectiveness of such a review process for preventing future child deaths, the statute was amended in 2002 and again in 2004, changing the name from the Delaware Child Death Review Commission to the Child Death, Near-Death, Stillborn, and Stillbirth Commission. And Pedrick and Marjorie Hershberger join me now to tell us about the work the commission is doing in the city of Wilmington and the state of Delaware. So many commission, childbirth, child death, still death.
Good morning.
Hi, ladies. I'm always so glad to see you and to talk about this very, very important issue that you're working hard to bring those numbers down and doing a good job at it.
We hope so.
We're trying.
Yeah,
We're definitely
yeah.
trying.
So I think I want to ask you first, what is the significance of October? Because this is SIDS awareness.
Yeah, the significance for October is that it is the National SIDS Awareness Month. And it often gets lost in the fact that October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month as well. And that's a very important issue as well, but it often gets lost in that more popular awareness campaign. But October is a time for us to bring attention to the number of deaths that we have in the United States and in Delaware that are due to sudden unexpected infant deaths, and a lot of these deaths are preventable, and what we can do to help prevent these deaths.
I think, Marjorie, when you were here the last time, I asked you, SIDS, does it affect just small babies, or can this be a little bit older children?
The definition for sudden infant death syndrome is a sudden death that occurs in an infant from 1 month to 1 year of age. Does that mean that older children can't die suddenly and unexpectedly? No, they do. But the majority of deaths that occur from unsafe sleeping or from SIDS occur before 1 year of age. 3 things have to occur for a family to get that diagnosis. There has to be a complete autopsy, there has to be a review of the medical records and the clinical history, and then a review of the death scene. So if all 3 of those things come back negative, then the medical examiner will give a diagnosis of SIDS. So really, SIDS is a diagnosis of exclusion.
So how do you think we're doing on raising the awareness on SIDS?
Well, I think we're certainly making inroads. There are different campaigns that we are doing, and one of the new campaigns that we're really excited about is a middle school project. And so we're trying to bring awareness to the communities through the children that actually do the majority of the babysitting now, which, believe it or not, is 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So we want to get the message to them because they're babysitters as well as hopefully will become future parents. So the middle school project is an art contest project for a student to develop a poster looking at the safe sleep recommendations put forth by the American Academy of Pediatrics. And we will be selecting a winner, and the winner gets a free mini iPad.
Yeah, and that's a good gift.
That is a good gift.
Yeah, right.
And we have 2 winners, so one in the fall and one in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the guidelines for the posters? Now, when these kids are making these posters, what should they be putting on them?
Well, they need to be working with a health education teacher and an art teacher at their school. There is a poster that was delivered to all of the schools. We worked with the Department of Education to bring this program to the public schools in Delaware, but we also have gone into all the parochial private charter schools. So everyone is included in this. If they go to our website, which is
de.gov/child-death, the poster is right on the front page, so all you have to do is click on it. There's parental information, so if they want to talk to their parents about it, and also information for the teachers in the schools as well.
Right, so then all the guidelines for the poster are there, and we're essentially saying, look at what the AAP guidelines are, and that's what you want to reflect. And then that winning poster will get put on the outside of a tote bag, And then the tote bag will have inside of it free baby sleep sacks, because we don't want blankets in beds anymore.
Right.
And a little children's book on safe sleep, baby snug, and some other safe sleep information. And then we will be distributing that to our high-risk populations, so like Lored, Westside Health. So that way people have the information on the tote bag, they get it out into the community. We're also hoping to put up billboards with the 2 winners again, so that their artwork will be shown throughout the state.
And when you get those winners, we'd love to have you come back, and I want to see the tote
Oh,
bag.
that would
Oh,
be
that
great.
would
We
be
would love to
great.
do
Yeah.
that, definitely.
And
Yes.
Ann, I wanted to ask you, what is the sudden death in the young registry? Because now that's
Yes.
different. Is that new?
That is new. We are very excited about this. In June, we worked with the Division of Public Health to submit a grant to the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, and it is called the Sudden Death in the Young Registry. And what this grant will do, it'll give us the ability to really go in depth for all children that have a sudden death. So not only infants, but all the way up to age 18. So that poor 16-year-old boy who might be on the basketball court playing, really having a good time, and unfortunately he has a really poor outcome and he drops on the basketball court.
Right.
That kid, we're going to be able to look at what really happened and go in depth in not only the medical review, but all of it, and bring in experts from AI DuPont and other institutions and really take an in-depth look, and also work with the CDC. So maybe there's something that we're missing to hopefully prevent those deaths for all children in the future. So we're really excited about it. It's a
Right.
4-year grant. Child Death Commission, we're working closely with the Division of Public Health, and we'll be overseeing the review process. So we're very excited. We're one of 10 states in the country that has been awarded this
Wow.
grant.
That is great.
yes.
And I guess it is important, when you're hearing, like, oh, they were just playing hockey, or they
Soccer,
were,
anything.
right, and then all of a sudden, and they're 15 years old, the perfect picture of health, and they, like,
Right.
literally drop dead.
Right.
And I talked to a parent advocate yesterday, and he told me that Delaware right now, when they have done EKG screenings at local schools, our kids right now are 3 to 4 times higher for abnormalities versus the rest of the country. And so that's something that from this review, we're going to be able to look at that and provide more programs to local communities and schools to make sure our children are healthier. So it's not just your unsafe sleeping deaths, but it's cardiac and epileptic deaths, and really anything that where the parents just didn't have any warning
Right.
sign.
Right.
And Ann, I don't want to put you out there a little bit too much, but you said something where Delaware is significantly higher for this with the cardiac issues and things like this for the kids. Do you think that you'll also be able to study environmental triggers?
Yes, yes. That's what we're really looking at. We're really trying to look at all aspects, a holistic view of a child's life, because we know that poverty and environment plays a significant role in child deaths. It really does. And so we really want to look at everything that could impact a child's mortality.
Are there any populations that seem to be harder to reach?
Well, actually, the African American population has a 2 to 3 times higher risk of having an infant die from sudden unexpected infant death than Hispanic or Caucasians. And it seems that the African American population has a strong tradition in sleeping with their infants. And that's one of the significant risk factors for death. And that's one of the preventable ones. And so we really need to be getting the word out that it's not safe to sleep with your baby in your bed. Babies aren't made to sleep between 2 adult parents with the average weight of 500 pounds, believe it or not, in the United States now.
No matter how convenient it is or how
Right.
cute and close you want to be to the baby.
Right. The recommendation is to have the baby in the same room with you for the first 6 months. You can lower the risk of SIDS by doing that, but in their own sleep environment.
And if a parent does not have a crib and they do not have the financial means, they must be eligible. But if they don't have the financial means, they can talk to their pediatrician, or if they're involved in any social service agency, they can talk to their representative at a social service agency, like a WIC representative, etc. And they can make a referral to our Cribs for Kids program. And we provide infant safe sleeping training by a public health nurse to be able to give them not only the free pack and play, but also the education, which is is critical.
Love you guys. So if anybody wants to talk to either one of you about SIDS Month, if they want to find out about the studies that are going to be taking place, what should they do?
Well, they can go to our website, which has contact information, or they can contact our number. Our main number is 302-255-1760, and they can ask for either Ann or Marge, and we'd be happy to get back to them. We're looking for partners because this really is an issue that affects the entire state, and so anybody that would like to partner with us, we'd welcome that.
And the poster contest, we want to remind everybody when you
Yes.
go to your website, right?
Yes.
Definitely, and it also benefits the teachers because they will also get resources, a gift card for their teaching.
And Ann said when you go there, it'll pop right up and you can just
On the
click
very
on it,
front
right?
page.
Right.
Very
Okay.
easy to
So
find.
It's a win-win.
Yes,
Yay.
definitely.
I cannot wait to see the winner. I cannot
Yes,
wait. So
we're
you got to
excited
come
about
back.
that. We will.
All right.
And if it's a day off from school, maybe we can bring the child and her
Would
parent, or
love
his
that
parent.
too. Love that. Okay. Thank
Great.
you, ladies.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Always great having you.
GED Pep Talk Center. Jerry Stiller speaking. Your level 7 in your face pep talk.
I can keep pushing. Believe me, I'm good at it.
Once you've got your GED diploma, you'll feel so good about yourself.
You tell 'em.
Mr. Trejo, can I transfer this guy to you? He needs something a little more.
Persuasive.
Yes.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
Today, school kids rely on the internet for so many things: homework, math, research. But what about kids who don't have internet at home? Hello, I'm Theo Gregory, Wilmington City Council President. The internet is essential, as many as 80% of low-income families do not have access at home, including many right here in Wilmington. So help bridge this gap by supporting local broadband adoption programs. Let's get more students and families connected to the power of the internet.
Monica and Megan. One million American children are confirmed victims of abuse and neglect each year. Right now, we have the court-appointed special advocates here to tell us about the programs that they are working with to kind of help these children that are removed from their families and, you know, the place that they called home, and you want to keep them from becoming a victim the second time, right?
Yes. Right.
So how are you ladies doing today? It's Monica Porter and Megan Caudell, and I'm so glad you could both be here.
Thanks for having us.
So tell us about what you guys do as court-appointed special advocates.
Well, the Court-Appointed Special Advocate Program is a program to help represent children and their best interest within the state of Delaware and in the community and in the court in front of judges. And Court-Appointed Special Advocates are all volunteers, and they all only represent kids in foster care.
So how do you guys get to be volunteers for this? I mean, I would think that this is like a full-time job.
Well, we're not actually the volunteers.
Okay.
We train the volunteers to advocate for the children.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
we do. We have a training going on right now. What we do is we train the volunteers to know state law, learn how court works, and then understand children. That's what we do. And then they, in turn, go out and advocate for the children in the community and in the court setting.
Okay, so explain it to me, Monica. So I'm a volunteer advocate, and I get like one kid?
You could have one child, or you could have a sibling group. And these
Okay.
children are in foster care. I don't know if we mentioned that too.
No, okay, so
Yeah,
they're already
they're
in
in
foster
foster
care.
care.
So I come to them, and then what do? I go to court with them or something?
You'll represent them in court depending on age. Sometimes the children will come to court depending on age. They have to be older and, you know, emotionally ready to do something like that. Actually, the volunteers represent them, I said that, and they represent in the community, which is school or daycare or anywhere out in the community. They may go to the doctor's office or something like that. What they do then is come to court and present that information to the judge who's presiding over the hearing and let them know what exactly is going on with the child. Parents are there, caregivers, whoever's involved in the child's life. We represent the child only.
Okay.
You'll have DFS, which is Division of Family Service, will be there. You'll have the parents there. They'll have an attorney. The Division of Family Service will have an attorney, and the child will have an attorney as well, to make sure that the child that's in foster care becomes a whole person and gets all the services that they need, and that's what we do.
It's a best interest-based program. So the CASA is representing the best interest of the child to the judge in the community, so that could be at school, the doctors, wherever, to make sure that they're getting all the services they need.
So how do you pair up the advocate and the kids, or it doesn't matter?
Well, when we get a case that comes into family court, we'll get the petition and we will read through it, and then amongst us in the office we talk about who we think would be a really great fit for the child, and then we go to that volunteer and ask them if they're willing to accept the case.
So how do the kids, when they meet their court-appointed special advocate, how do they often get along with them? I guess they end up forming some sort of bond, because this is a person who's might be at your school, might go to your doctors, you know what I mean? And you could potentially see them in court, right?
Many kids form a really great relationship with their CASAs because it's a person who is consistent in their life. Their DFS worker may change, their foster placement may change, but it doesn't matter where they go or what they do, their CASA is always there.
Wow, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
So what are the special requirements to become a CASA?
There's no particular special requirements. Obviously, we want you to be able to care about children and want to make sure that they're at your forethought, but there are certain things that will prevent you from being a CASA because we have to follow certain laws. So
right.
We ask that you don't have any current cases yourself involving abuse or neglect. We check criminal backgrounds. You know, we want to make sure that our volunteers are upstanding citizens.
How much time, how many hours or time would you think that a typical volunteer spends working with these kids in this program?
It varies. Initially, they have to complete a 30-hour training, and then they have to do 12 hours of training per year to make sure they're staying on current child welfare trends. But then most CASAs probably meet anywhere from 10 to 30 hours a month with their children. They're required to meet at least once a month with their child.
Not a lot.
And I think, Paul, we have a PSA ready about that, because we want to show a PSA.
Okay.
Okay, we want to show this PSA, and that people should be on the lookout for this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Every day, the courts handle thousands of cases of child abuse and neglect, and every one of them is more than just a file. Each is a child's life. These children need someone to stand up for them, someone to stand up for their hopes, for their futures. That someone can be you. Become an advocate for a child. Call CASA to volunteer. Caring is all the experience you need.
And we want to make sure that people are aware that that will be running. And
They can access it on our website.
it's on our website? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
It's on your website. And we want to tell people again, why would they want to become a CASA volunteer?
Well, most of the CASA volunteers, they want to make a difference in a child's life. They want to make an improvement in the community. So it's really people looking to do something great for children.
Okay, all right. And if anybody wants to find out more about CASA, the volunteer programs, what should they do?
Contact me.
Okay, what's your number? Let's give it out.
It's 302-255-0381.
And if you want to tell somebody who might be watching right now, if you had to say how this would affect a kid before we go, what would you say to the person?
Yeah, I would say it would be the best thing that they could do, because a lot of children don't have anyone to speak on their behalf. They want someone to speak on their behalf. Even though they look like or sound like they don't want that, they do. They want someone in their corner all the time. And we need people to do that.
We're always looking for volunteers.
Always need people to do that.
An age range for the kids?
They're from infant to 18 to 2021.
Wow. Well,
Newborns.
thank you, ladies, so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And come back, and maybe we could meet a volunteer the next time you come back.
Yes.
Great. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Access Health right after these messages.
We are your Wilmington City Council, and we're also your neighbors. We're asking you to let us know about your community events, achievements, concerns, and issues.
That's why we created a special email address that will connect you to all of us in City Council.
Drop us an email about things going on in your neighborhood with Community Events 22 at wilmingtonde.gov. That's Community Events 22 at wilmingtonde.gov.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but things changed. Teaching didn't seem that cool anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Amazing things are happening in teaching, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Health, Aging, and Disability Consulting LLC specializes in transitions of individuals across the lifespan, project management, and problem solving for health, aging, and disability issues at home, school, or work. My friend Linda Heller is here to talk to us all about this great program. And some of you might remember Linda from the hearing loss program. And now you're working to address the aging population in the state of Delaware. My gosh, Linda, you certainly are busy.
Right. Well, aging issues have become at the forefront, of our society. So there are so many people with health, aging, and disability issues in Delaware. The population is really exploding.
Right.
And, about by 2020, about 30% of Delawareans are going to be over the age of 65.
Wow.
With the biggest area of growth in the 85 plus.
Yeah.
So that is really going to explode the aging field, and we have a lot of exciting changes coming up, a lot of radical change coming up in the delivery of services as resources change too. So it's a very changing world right now, and it's a very difficult maze for families to get through.
Well, and Linda, it's interesting you said things are changing, and I didn't realize, the population, people were living a lot longer, number one.
Right.
So what kind of changes had to happen to address the longevity of life now?
Well, there's a lot of change. We don't have the time to go through all the changes because it's massive, but I think the major change is going to be, first of all, in technology. There's going to be a much greater use of technology because as seniors and people with disabilities stay in their own homes more, the world will have to come to them, and technology is a way to do that. So one way that you're going to see that happen is there's going to be more robots, for example, delivering medications to people on time in their own home. There'll be much more use of social media for people with disabilities and older people, because social engagement is very, very important for older people. and to avoid depression. And a lot of the seniors now that are going to come up won't have a lot of family around.
Right.
And so social engagement is going to be very important. And also you're going to see technology in the area of hearing loss, for example. You're going to see a lot more hearing loop systems, which are very prevalent in Europe, but very seldom here do you see any organizations using hearing loop systems. So all kinds of technology is going to be affecting people and having to be used. And as medical advances improve and cancer is less and less, you'll have people living much, much longer. So that's one change. You'll also see people staying in the community. And when you talk about that, we have a huge elder population. And in other countries, they have learned that the value of older people and their mentoring. And older people are really libraries of experience.
Right.
If you think of an older person as a library of experience, what you will see is that as time moves on, we're going to be figuring out how to capture the wisdom and the experience of older people. So you'll see a lot more mentoring, intergenerational activity. You'll also see more people trying to be engaged in the community in so many more different ways. The average retiree, Shannon, actually spends about 49 hours a week watching television.
That's a lot.
And that is huge. And that's because we haven't found a way to use older people and value their experience. And I think you'll see an explosion of new kinds of businesses that will develop because of aging. And that's one of the additional changes, is that the growth in the health, aging, and disability business will be phenomenal. You'll see all kinds of new kind of businesses matching up people intergenerationally, and also in their home, in their community. You'll see more older people working.
Now, what about the older people and their families? What are we doing to say, okay, family, you have this person who is now 85, 90 years old, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're aging and you know, they're doing okay, but we need you to be a little bit more involved. How do we address the family?
Right. Well, caregiving is going to be a huge issue, and we need to support families with caregivers. Especially, what a lot of older people are going to be left with, because healthcare is advancing, is better physically, but mentally, cognitively, they're going to have more Alzheimer's and dementia. So as that moves on, we're going to have to do more brain training for people. There's going to be more emphasis on health and wellness, and also supporting the family with end-of-life issues and life planning. And that's something that Access Health, Aging, and Disability does. But there's going to be a lot more thought for people at an earlier age. This is what we're trying to educate people. You need to be thinking and planning now, and developing a life plan with an expert in the health, aging, and disability area.
Let me ask you, Linda, do you think is it better for older people to live in 55 and older communities? That way they can stay in communities where there are a lot of people who are, you know, in that age range, and probably more services geared towards that population?
Mm-hmm. I think the assisted living and the long-term care institutions meet a very important need, and we will always need them. In the future, you're going to see a lot more different types of living options. You're going to see shared living, women living together. You're going to see smaller communities. For example, you might see a house with 4 or 5 older people
like the Golden
living
Girls.
together, like the Golden Girls.
Right.
There's going to be a lot more options in the future, and so not necessarily everybody has to go into a quote facility, but they can be supported a lot more in their own private home or in a shared living experience.
Do you think cities or suburbs are better for older people? I guess it depends on the person.
I think it depends on the person. Whether you have a lot of family support, because a lot of older people, their family is gone, or they have, or they don't have children, or they're single. Remember, most of the people that are getting older are women, And sometimes their children live far away, so we're going to have more long-distance caregiving. That's why computers are going to be really important in the future to connect seniors. There's already emerging companies that are just doing nothing but teaching seniors how to work with a basic tablet or a computer so that they can engage with their grandchildren and their families.
Which is important because the older people get, if they weren't necessarily used to working with computers and tablets and cell phones, they don't know how to work those things now.
Right, right, they don't. And so you have to start with the basics. My company has done some of that with seniors, and a lot of seniors are very afraid that they've never worked with a computer, and so the first piece would be helping them get over that fear. But we find, I'm working now with a 92-year-old who was afraid of the computer. Well, now she's like talking with her grandchildren every single day. She can't stop, you know. They can't even keep up with grandma's emails. So I think just getting over that initial hump is hard, but yet it's an important step for older people.
I love that.
Yes.
That is great. Now, what about the Easter Seals Tech Fair? Because that's coming up, right? And that's a big deal.
Saturday there's going to be the Easter Seals Technology Resource Fair, 61 Corporate Circle down in Newcastle at their main office. And they're going to have all kinds of exhibits about technology for people with all kinds of physical issues, and so it would be a great opportunity for families to go and not only try some of the technology but learn a lot more about it. And then people can also go to the Division of Aging and Persons with Physical Disabilities, a state agency, and they have something called the Aging and Disability Resource Center. And you can just call 211 or the 800 number, and they will hook you up with services, because it's all about getting trusted information. A lot of seniors are taken advantage of, and so going to an agency, organizations, and companies like ours that have trusted information and can help people with advocacy and their issues is very, very important.
And Linda, if anybody wants to talk to you, what should they do?
They can call us at 302-388-9459, or they can email me at lsheller3204@gmail.com. And I'm very happy to help people with any information that they need. This is what we do every day.
It's so great. Thank you, Linda, for coming on. And you know something, maybe if you want to come back with a senior who you are working with, we'd be glad to have you back and happy to meet them.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
When we return, we'll find out what Keys to Success Delaware is all about. Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
Accidents happen. So do huge medical bills. Find out how to get health insurance coverage by visiting ChooseHealthDE.com.
Keys to Success Delaware works to restore dreams, minds, and communities. Say Less, Do More, taking back the community through the pursuit of success. Logan Jenkins and Dante Robbins join me now to tell us all about Keys to Success. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, doing well.
Yourself? Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. Keys to Success Delaware, what is it?
Keys to Success Delaware. Keys to Success is a mentoring organization that we started August 1st of 2013. Okay, so we've been operating for a little over a year. A little over a year now. So, but basically, we're a mentoring organization. We provide mentors to the community. The kind of individual I am, I am completely ready to take back my community. Okay. I'm so upset with the things that are going on. There's a lot of killings, murders, things of that nature. And we have a generation now that essentially are teaching themselves. And, you know, it's called a spade. They're not doing that well at it. You know, so what we're going to do is we're going to step in. We're going to be those individuals that can help teach, help mold, help mentor, help groom today's generation into the future stars that we know that they can become.
So you and Dante are mentors.
Yes, Dante and I are mentors.
Well, you guys look great. I mean, you look like mentors. I mean, you know, I love your outfits.
Yeah, the idea behind that is, you know, and if you ever come across us, you know, I usually wear shirts, ties, suits all day.
Really?
You know, I can do that all day, every day.
Dante usually wears a sweater, a tie, and a shirt.
Typically. I mean,
I'm just saying.
Time we switch it up, but at the same instant, we know that it's way more presentable to dress like this, and then the young adults, they're looking upon us and they're wondering what do we do and our go-abouts, and you know, it shows a lot of leadership.
You guys look great.
Thank
you.
You
do. You do.
Our message is you don't have to wear a suit to be going to court, or you don't have to just wear a suit that, you know, I can put on a suit just because, you know, and look good and feel good while doing it. And that's what we implement during Keys to Success. We have every Thursday at the Neighborhood House over South Bridge, 1218 B Street, and every Friday at the Resurrection Center, 3301 North Market Street. We have these guided discussion groups, and it's open to the community. So if you want to come, if the producers want to come, whoever wants to come, we open it to the community, and we have these topics. And one of the topics that we have is appearance. We have a topic called Is Perception Reality? Relationships, communication, peer pressure, all sorts of things.
Well, look, I got to ask you, since we're talking about appearance, evidently you guys represent very well for the fellas, but now the young ladies can be just as guilty. I've seen some interesting outfits. So what kind of representation do you have for them?
So we have two great female facilitators, excuse me, three. We have Leslie Jones. She is a student at Wilmington University. We have Morgan Camper, who is also a student. She's actually getting into the medical field. And we have Nikki Patrick. Nikki is heading our new program. It's called our FACT program, which is actually named after a friend of mine and her nephew, Philip Hackett, who passed away in a car accident. And basically with this program, it's more so for the performing arts. And you know, they get to learn singing, dancing, acting, creating stage plays, things of that nature, and not just actually doing it, giving them something to do. Obviously, we want to get them off the streets. But it's actually learning the message behind it. And those three facilitators, because during our sessions, we segregate them. We have a male component and we have a female component.
Right.
And you know, when we have topics like relationships, family, we can dig a lot deeper. You know, if I get all the guys together, because they're not worried about, you know, being cool for the ladies.
Yeah,
and
right.
We can get all the girls
right,
together,
right.
and we separate them. We have them in two separate rooms, and we have that specific topic for about 2 to 3 weeks. And on that final week is when we'll put them together. And we'll, you know, hey, the guys learn this, hey, the girls learn this, and we bring them all together. But, you know, for instance, we have a couple fundraisers coming up. One of my favorite fundraisers was the Lady in My Life event. And it was an event where we had towards Valentine's Day, in which we could have, you know, some of the guys, we have a lot of guys that come to our sessions. Some of the guys that can come get together and they can actually show the world who their lady is, you know, whether it be their mother, grandmother, and they show them how to treat their lady. You know, they pull out chairs, they're dressing nice, they're serving them, you know, whatever the case may be. And it's a really nice event, you know, and partially because I like that Michael Jackson song, Lady in My Life.
Is he ready to start singing?
But
Come on, I know that song.
I know the song too, but I'm not singing on TV.
You're not going to sing on TV? I always sing on TV.
Well, congratulations. You sound great.
Really, you don't work here then? Because they hate when I sing. They say I sound horrible.
But yeah, we have a lot of different fundraisers coming up. We also have.
Well, let me ask you, what are the age ranges for these kids that come to Keys to Success?
Well, we have different programs. We have the FACT program. We also have the Dynamic Dancers that started in April, and we have the mentoring component. And for the youngest, I think it's 7 years old, and the oldest can be actually 21. So to be enrolled in a program. And what ends up happening is, all these programs intertwine with each other. So if you're in the mentoring program, of course you can mentor someone that's in the Dynamic Dancers, and they're competing. The Dynamic Dancers are a competing dance team. They travel up and down the East Coast and hopefully nationally, once we gain the funds to do so. But they do a lot, and like I said, it intertwines with one another. And then that way, what you have is an instance like Malik Finch or a Jalis Mills, in which these are young men that are in the program.
Yeah, talk to us about the success
and they
stories.
mentor some of the younger individuals that are coming up in the program.
Really?
So, Malik I love that kid dearly, and I actually just left a meeting. He goes to AI high school. I just left a meeting. He's doing phenomenal. All A's. When I say all A's, I mean all A's. Like 96%, and I think his lowest grade is at 96%.
Get out of here, really? So I'm assuming that's because he came to be with you guys.
Well,
right?
yeah. Well, before then, and
Absolutely.
if you have the time, every Friday he comes to the Resurrection Center for our sessions there. Please come out. The sessions start at 6. You can meet him personally, and he can tell you his story, because as tumultuous as it is, he'll tell you, I was set up to fail. And it's kind of like, well, if you see what he's doing now, he's like, there's no way you could have.
And I got to ask you that, because you guys both have backstories too, don't you? So I don't know, Dante, what was your backstory?
I grew up in the city, so for me, being a mentor now, it's crazy because of course, being younger, I couldn't see myself doing it. But now that we're here, I was actually mentored by Larry Carter. Yeah.
I know Larry.
Yeah, Uncle Larry.
Did you call Uncle Larry? Yeah, Uncle Larry.
Uncle Larry. So, he kind of showed me the ropes, but to be here today and now to actually give back to the community, I think is remarkable, because a lot of these kids, they don't have that, that guidance that they really need, especially a male figure. Because like the Big Brother programs, they don't really do that as much, and that's what Keys to Success is. We try to be the big brothers to these kids, and not so much as feel like we're like preaching to them, but we're just trying to.
And I got to ask you, you were never, I don't want to say bad, but you don't seem like you were ever potentially off the hook, were you?
No.
Right.
At the end of the day, when you're a kid, you do things, but I never got in any type of trouble of that sort, going to jail or anything. And but some of these kids, when we do see that, we don't judge them, and I think that's the biggest problem. A lot of these kids are being judged, and they don't feel like they can talk to anyone. So we're making sure that we can at least all right, we're teaching appearance and responsibility, but at the same instant, we know that with most of these kids, they just need an ear to listen.
Right.
I remember a time.
Well, wait a minute, Logan. What's your backstory?
Oh, well, I
was it interesting?
Yeah. It was, no, it was nothing. Nothing crazy or anything like that.
Just a little interesting.
Born over Southbridge. Dante and I both were born over Southbridge.
So you guys knew each other?
Yeah, he's true story. He's legitimately the first friend I've ever made.
Wow.
Yeah. So
he looks like a good friend.
It's ironic that we came and now we have Keys to Success. So.
Wow, that is great. You know what, you guys? Okay, you're gonna kill me. Time is gonna be out. So tell us about your open house again.
Open house is on Thursday, this upcoming Thursday on the 23rd, so tomorrow, or I guess it'd be.
Yeah, well, just don't say, just say Thursdays,
on
okay?
It'll be Thursdays, Thursdays at the Neighborhood House, 1218 B Street in Southbridge. every Thursday starting at 6 o'clock. Myself, Dante will be there. We'll have the female facilitators. You can learn about the dynamic dancers. You can learn about how to become a mentor, how to get a mentor, how to learn how to dance, to be a part of the FACT program, singing, acting, dancing, everything that encompasses Keys to Success. The fundraising.
Okay, wait a minute.
No, I'm sorry.
Here he goes, Dante. You see how he
You
gets.
see what I'm saying?
Just give out your phone number, okay, or your website. Is he always like this? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
That's it?
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, give out your information if somebody wants to contact you.
Information is 302-482-5941. Contact me at any time. Our email is keystosuccess2013@gmail.com. YouTube, Instagram,
Well, they can
Facebook,
call you for all of that.
Twitter,
Sure.
everything.
He's taking over you left off.
No, you see what I'm saying? You
No,
gotta get the
listen.
information out there.
You guys
Gotta
are
get it
funny.
out
You
there.
gotta come back though. I loved having you on, so make sure you come back.
You let us know when we can come back. We'll come
I
back.
definitely will. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you.
Fun at the Grand Opera House for the kids next when we return.
I want my Ed TV.
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 Now.
I want my Ed TV. I want my Ed TV.
Bring their classes to the Grand. Live theater brings life to the subjects that are studied in the classrooms. Pam Minacchio is here now to tell us about the great shows at the Grand that benefit kids in schools. And let me tell you, Pam, okay, I had a chance to look at, well, we're going to look at a video. Give me 2 seconds before we look at the video. But the pictures and all of the show titles, it really was kind of cool.
It's really cool. I love this program. I love working on it, do the programming for it, so we get to pick out what shows come to the Grand each year and try to decide what the teachers are going to like, what they can use in their classrooms, and how they might connect to their curriculums. And then, you know, once the kids come into the theater and see the show, it's the looks on their faces, which really makes it all come together and make it all worthwhile and really exciting.
So let's look at a quick video real quick. Paul, we ready with our roll in? All right, and we're going to take a look at this and then we'll come right back.
Okay.
All this being born stuff isn't easy. Squish, 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 and pow! There you are. But where? I don't even know where I am. I don't even know what I am.
This is a milkweed plant, and you are a monarch larva, a caterpillar.
Hey, I was just born. Ease up on the big words, okay?
When you hear the ribbon and the croaking that goes with it, and the chirping and the buzzing from the cricket and
Enjoying yourself?
little one?
Well, yes, I guess I am.
Ah.
This is really amazing. I feel so free.
To be what you will be, what you will. It's time for you to be what you.
One life cycle has come to an end, and another one has just begun.
It goes like hello and goodbye. The sun up in the sky. Watch and you'll see why. Yeah. About butterfly.
Beat up.
That's our butterfly.
Pam, I was telling you, I thought that was, when I had a chance to watch the video, I thought it was just so great, so cute, a lot of fun, and that is all the stage of discovery, right?
They're all, yeah, very exciting and fun like that. That one was the Hudson Vagabond Puppets, so it's a big, giant puppet show. But they're all educational as well, so the teachers can use that to tie in the whole life cycle of the butterfly, where they'll teach from the caterpillar through the metamorphosis into a butterfly.
And we were talking, and this is actually what you send out when you're sending the information to the schools, right? So they get something like this, and they need to really flip through it because there's a lot of great shows, and like you said, that they tie into what they're teaching, a lot of good themes.
A lot of different subjects. We have 10 shows on the season this year. 7 of them are in the main stage in Copeland Hall, and we've got 3 in the Baby Grand, which is kind of expanding into the Baby Grand this year, in order to give them a smaller, more intimate theater experience, and that way the kids can be a little closer with the artists and have some more audience participation. So the Butterfly happens to be our first show this season. It's coming up next month on November 13th. And right after that, on November 17th, is a show called Sticks and Stones. So that is a one-woman performance, and she uses poetry and music and videos to tell a really intense but touching story about bullying in the schools, and which it's a very popular topic right now for schools that are addressing this. And October is anti-bullying month, so that show is actually doing really, really well. In December, we bring in a Christmas show, so we've got 'Twas the Night Before Christmas coming. January, we do the Math Maniac show.
Oh, that's a good one.
So we're bringing
Everybody needs
math,
that.
who thinks math and theater together, but this guy makes it all fun with learning.
Paul, you would love it. He's like, no, math and theater, it does mix. Tell him, Pam.
It does. It does.
Right,
It makes
right.
for real
Keith,
exciting.
you too. You might want to check it out, right?
Yeah.
Pam, do you think most of these kids, when they come to the Grand to see these shows, is it their first theater experience?
For a lot of them, this is definitely their first. Some schools become regulars and repeat visitors, so the kids do get used to being here at the Grand, and they love the experience and love coming back. But a lot of them, their first visit, their families may not be able to take them to shows, or they just don't know what's going on in the Opera House. So definitely field trips can be their first exposure, and we hope that it really develops their appreciation for the arts, and that they can learn that they'll come back later on and enjoy all sorts of performances, music and dance and theater and acrobats and all sorts of stuff like that.
Now, what about for schools that want to come but may not have transportation available for kids to get there?
We realize that transportation can be a difficult challenge for schools because the cost of it has been rising. We have some grants from Capital One, and they are funding scholarships so that we can pay for the bus transportation for schools that are Title I schools, or they serve low-income families and students. So we make that possible for over 20 schools each year.
So there's no excuse why you shouldn't be at the Grand seeing one of these great shows.
Yeah, they're great. They're affordable, $7 per ticket, and free tickets for larger groups, and families are welcome too. You know, homeschoolers, preschoolers, really great. We've got a lot to choose from.
How do you pick these shows?
It's hard.
I know, right?
No, but the agents are out there putting together their artists, and they send me information on what they're presenting each year. So there are certain companies that I really like working with year after year. And we've also been featuring some of our local artists a little bit more each year. So First State Ballet Theater, which is in the Grand Opera House, they do a Stage of Discovery show each year.
Right.
This year they're bringing Gwendolyn the Graceful Pig, so they're actually going to do a story with original choreography, and the author of this book is going to be there to read and narrate throughout the performance.
Right.
Tahira is a local storyteller, and she's really wonderful and very engaging. She's going to do a show in the Baby Grand about the songs of the Civil Rights Movement, and I met her through the Summer in the Parks program.
Wow. And I guess, you know, since you were talking about like anti-bullying programming and things like that, I guess it depends on what's going on at that time that helps you to pick some of these shows, right?
Yeah, I've got to keep an ear out and listen to the teachers and what things they're looking for. It helps to have my kids in school right now, so I get to see what they're doing in their classrooms and try to match up with what I'm seeing and, you know, what they're doing. That's how one of our shows this year at the end of the season in April is Flat Stanley. Almost every classroom does Flat Stanley.
Who doesn't love Flat Stanley? All right, Pam, before we go, can we give out your number really quick? So
Absolutely. For tickets, you can call the box office at 302-652-5577.
We have it up there for you.
I think that's right. And you can also email discovery@grandopera.org, and there's definitely more information on our website.
Love having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
And before we go today, I want to mention a few fun things happening around town. And I think everybody can check out on Friday, October 31st, and Saturday, November 1st at the Brandywine Zoo. Take your kids to Boo at the Zoo. Celebrate Halloween Brandywine Zoo style. This merry, not scary event is great for kids of all ages. Kaylin and Miles bring their Chasing Dreams tour to the World Cafe Live on October, I believe that is 23rd. 23rd, thank you, Paul. And it's inspirational rap style, and that will be hitting that stage. And over at Chase Center on the riverfront, the International Gem and Jewelry Show will be in town from October 31st to November 2nd. For more information, visit intergem.com. And that is all, and Pam is still here. We want everybody, of course, to check out the great shows at the Grand Opera House. Thanks. And, you know, get your kids there to have their first theater experience. So everybody here at WITN Channel 22, I'm Shannon Harris. We'll see you next time. Thanks.